there, welcome to the Trombone Visualizer channel, and thanks for tuning in to the Trombone Visualizer Show, Episode 1. I'm Kevin Hicks, the host, and we're going to talk about everything related to the Trombone Visualizer. I'm going to teach with it, and it's not just any kind of a show, it's a play-along video as well, so it's like a lesson. So get out your trombone and let's practice together. Today's episode, we're going to go over the Trombone Visualizer warm-up. We're going to go over how to work on a chord drone, practice over the C major chord, and learn some kind of scales and scale patterns to play over that. And we're also going to do some time exercises. And I love playing time exercises. It's one of the best ways to practice, in my opinion. And don't forget about the bass trombone. That's right, I'm going to play some bass trombone. I'm not a good bass trombonist, but I'm going to be shedding along with you. I'm so excited because the Trombone Visualizer has enabled me to see so much clearer. All the ideas in my head are just so clear, and if I can hear it, I can visualize it, and the better I can visualize it, the better I can play it. I'm learning all kinds of stuff about other trombonists. I've been checking out a lot of other stuff because I want to bring that to part of the show in this next segment called 1 Minute Trombone Visualizer News. Today in 1 Minute Trombone Visualizer News. 2025 started off with lots of action in the trombone world. The Gen Conference was in Atlanta, Georgia this January and featured trombonists such as John Fedchuk, Jennifer Wharton, Sam Blakesley, Ben Patterson, Tony Baker, Dennis Wilson, Alex Heitlinger, Javier Nero, Isaiah Butler, Brian Woodbury, Nate Campbell, Jason Hausback, Chris Glassman, Tom Bones Malone, Wycliffe Gordon, and Michael Dees. Marshall Gilks toured in Japan, Germany, and the Georgia Music Educators Conference in January, then a featured artist at the West Salem Jazz Festival, Grants Pass Jazz Festival, and BYU, Idaho in February. Michael Dees sat in with Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra next to Elliot Mason. Dees recently produced Nanami Haruta's album that just released February 28th. Steve Turre was recently interviewed on Steve Wiest World podcast, formerly known as the Leadology podcast. Francisco Torres and Andy Martin are busy in Los Angeles doing recording sessions, playing with Gordon Goodwin Big Fat Band in Oakland, Tom Kubis Big Band at Gaslamp, and also doing their own projects. The UNT Jazz Trombone Day this year, hosted by Nick Finzer, featured Andy Martin and Alton Brennan Senkalar. Wycliffe Gordon did a jazz cruise with Chris Bodie, and Trombone Shorty recently accompanied Lauren Daigle, performing America the Beautiful at the Super Bowl. And that's 1 Minute Trombone Visualizer News. Thanks for checking this out. Go on over to khicksmusic.com and sign up for the TV Easy Chords course, as well as the Trombone Visualizer warm-up, and check out what else is there. I'm really looking forward to this, so let's get it going.
A tool that's changing the game. It's all about the math, no more guessing names. The Trombone Visualizer, it's clear as can be, shows me the slide and where my notes should be. From the first position and out to 7, it guides me right through, all thanks to Kevin. With every note it lights the way, the partials lined up shows the path to play. Trombone Visualizer, let it show me the way, in perfect harmony, no matter what they say. With math as my guide, I hit every note on the slide with precision. I'm ready to go.
Let me show you a little bit of what's in the warm-up. Check it out. Here's a brief introduction and video of what to do. These are some shortcuts to the long tones, lip slurs, and range exercises. But if you're just getting in here for the first time, before you do anything else, make sure to download the 3 PDFs of the warm-ups. Here's a little link to all of the major scales and arpeggios, with the visual and the animated dot moving around, but don't get sidetracked. Let's talk about the PDFs. The PDF of the long tones explains that there are 3 versions of the long tone warm-up videos. The long tones version 1 have me playing along, as well as text to remind you to develop good habits while you play. The version 2 videos have the reminder text but no trombone sound. And the third version has just the visualizer and chord drones and the animated dot to show you what note we're on in the exercise. Click the video to play and click here to expand to full screen. When you're first getting started, I recommend you play along to version 1 videos for the first week, version 2 for the second week, and version 3 for the third week. After that, begin doing it without looking as you visualize it in your head. Okay, moving on to lip slurs. These are set up a little different. Beginners should first master lip slurs 1 before moving on to lip slurs 2. This might take a while to make it smooth depending on your experience. If you're an intermediate player, you might want to focus on lip slurs 2 and 3 the most. If you're an advanced player, start wherever you want, but lip slurs 4 is right out of the Remington lip slurs repertoire, and it's a really good exercise. Repeat these exercises and notice how you get better and better every time. Finally, we have the range exercises. These are set up so that you can either play along with or without me, and there's 3 different range exercises depending on your ability level. If you're a beginner or intermediate level, don't move on from range 1 until you've completely mastered it. It crosses 5 partials. Range 2 goes all the way up to high B flat and as low as pedal E. Range 3 goes all the way up to high F. After warming up, I suggest you go watch and play along to the major scales and arpeggios. Alright, now let's talk about drone chords. I like to break things into the 2 most fundamental skills and work on building coordination between those 2 skills after working on them individually. For example, I have 2 main skills that I practice to get better at jazz that anyone at any level can work on, and they break down between rhythm and harmony. To practice rhythm, I do time exercises where the main focus is playing with a solid groove, and like a rhythm section player would, by playing along to great recordings or drum grooves, not a metronome. And then to practice harmony, I do vertical harmonic practice. That's where the trombone visualizer comes in. Have you heard of drones? No, not the flying ones. I'm talking about pitch drones that hold out a note and you can tune to it or practice other things to it. What I've done is created a bunch of drone chords that hold out an entire chord that you can tune to, or just become familiar with the sound of it by practicing over it. For the next 12 shows, we're going to go over all 12 major chords. That means we're going to go over all 12 major scales that match those 12 chords. And we're going to go into depth on each one so you get extremely familiar with them all. These are the most important chords to be familiar with. They're the math-based set of notes at the center of modern harmony. It's what we base the music number system off of, 1 through 7, where 1 is the root, or the 1, and it's also the title of the scale. For example, C is the 1 in the C major scale, as well as the root of the C major chord. Then D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, and B is 7. This root note is movable to create different soundscapes, and we'll practice moving the root around. But for now, let's focus on C. We'll start with C because it's the scale with no sharps or flats. On the keyboard, it's all the white notes and no black keys. We'll go into detail and work on each chord individually because when we practice, we hyper-focus on the details so that when we perform, we don't have to even think about it. The goals are 1. To learn and identify every note and its number relationship to the root. 2. Learn the slide positions of all the notes as well as the shapes they make on the trombone. And 3. Learn to play different shapes that work over each chord, like arpeggios, pentatonic scales, and transcribed vocabulary, and more. In the Easy Chords course, click on C Major 7 and download the C Major PDF. Then click on the link to the secret playlist of Easy Drone Chords on YouTube. There you can hear and see the C Major drone chord and practice what's on the PDF. And if it's on your phone or tablet, then you can choose to click on that and loop that video. There's like settings button right there, and you can just more settings and then loop video. Here's the scale related to the chord, and down here is C in 6th position, and up here C is in 3rd position. Let's get the chord going here on the keyboard. I'm going to play a simple C major. And put the sustain pedal on. Here's the scale played. Once you can play the scale effortlessly up and down using all the right positions, begin doing scale patterns. Here are a couple to get you started. And here's another scale pattern. It's 1 2 3 1, 2 3 4 2. Then work on all of the arpeggios because you can come up with some cool licks using the arpeggios. And I think of the arpeggios like the bone structure of a chord. Next, work on all your pentatonic scale options. There are 6 pentatonic scales that work over each major chord. 2 of them imply the sharp 11, which you may or may not want to use, depending on the circumstances. These last 2 imply the sharp 11. And what I suggest you do is just focus on each one of those one at a time over this chord. So for example, work on your C major pentatonic. And then this is me doing the same thing, but focusing on A minor pentatonic. You can tell how it has a slightly different feel to it. Now let's do the same thing, but let's focus on G major. It kind of has a little bit of more of a suspended feel. And then that's the same kind of feel with the E minor as well. And then the D major over C. It's really nice. You can kind of get that happening more like this. Still all the same notes, but we're kind of putting the F sharp in there instead of the F natural. And then same thing with B minor. It's the same notes, but you're kind of emphasizing the B minor sound of it. So that's just a couple ideas. A couple of common jazz standards that use this chord include, what is this thing called, love? Like Someone in Love, 7 Steps to Heaven on the Bridge, Take the A Train, On the Sunny Side of the Street. Those are a few, but there's plenty of others. But here's a lick that I recommend you learn over this chord. Or up high, it sounds like this. So those are just a few ways to practice over this chord. After we play some bass trombone, we'll come back and do some time exercises over this chord. And in future episodes, we'll get into other great ways to practice over the chords as well. Don't forget about the bass trombone. Don't forget about the bass trombone. The bass trombone is crazy because it has 2 valves. Well, most bass trombones do. And with the physics of the trombone the way they are, specifically the flattening of the partials, as we move away from first position, this really affects the bass trombone. Because when you add tubing, it's like going to 6th through 11th position. And the further away you get from first position means the partial is becoming horizontal, which means the positions get further apart. And since our arms can't reach beyond 7th position, some people can't even reach beyond 6th position, but these valves allow us to reach the notes by making 6th position possible in 1st position and 5th position with independent valve 2. And when you combine the two, you can get even further out where the notes are even further apart from each other. That's why there's only 6 notes on these 2 partials and only 5 notes on this green partial. These are basically all the same partial as the B flat, but with the valves extending it all the way down, So with the complexities of the valve combinations and the positions being different on those partials, a map of notes is extremely useful for the bass trombone. Let's work on C major with 4 goals in mind. Let's learn the positions, including alternate positions. 2, tune the notes of the arpeggio. 3, learn the pentatonic scale. And 4, learn to move fluidly and quickly between the notes in different combinations. Start by tuning the open B flat on the instrument. Then tune the F in first position with the F trigger. And then tune the D in first position with both triggers. Do it at a nice medium volume so you're not overstraining or understraining the chops. You're getting a nice core of the instrument happening. And don't pass out, because that can happen when you're suddenly blowing a lot more air into a trombone than you're used to. And once we have those all nice and my nose is just 2 after doing that. But once we get all of those nice and in tune, and we've adjusted the tuning slides, for instance, mine, I have to put them all the way in because this horn is just a little bit on the, let's say, flat side. So I gotta put them all the way in, and then adjust from there. So, and once we have those 3 notes really in tune, the B flat and the F and the D all in first position, then it's a lot easier to be more accurate when we go move around to other positions. Now let's tune the notes in the C major arpeggio. C in 6th position can be played in first position with V1. It's not shown here on the bass trombone visualizer, but it would be right there. So let's tune this C to the chord. Notice how I'm using the first valve and just playing it in first position. Now let's play the G, which is the 5th of the chord, and that's down here in 4th position. I like to move around the note above and below it, and then from there I can tell, oh, that's sharp, oh, that's flat, and then I can get a better adjustment of exactly where that note is, and then I sit on it there. It's also good to mess with the dynamic. Go a little bit louder and a little bit softer to find where it balances and where it sounds really good and matches the balance of the chord. All right, now let's move on to the next note, which is E. And I'm going to do that with the first trigger and a long second position. That's this note right here. This note. right here, past second position. Repeat video. I wish I could repeat it. Here we go. Or you can also do vibrato, which is a kind of a nice way to find where the center is of that note too. Great, now let's go down to the low C. That's in fourth position, just beyond fourth position. Let's just call it fourth position because it lines up pretty well. C with both triggers. You see how it's on this V1 and V2 green partial. So I'm going to push both valves. See, and I think it's really important not to just look at a tuner to find out where the in tune is, but use your ear. Use your ear to notice when it just doesn't sound right, and when it does sound right. It just feels great. So just find that sweet spot. Ooh, that sounded a little bit better. All right, now that we know right where those notes are most in tune, at least, you know, subjectively, let's get really familiar with moving between those notes. Again, these notes of the arpeggio are the backbone of this chord, so let's get really comfortable with not only how it sounds moving between them, but how it feels, and create that visual sense in your mind of where we are on the slide. So I'm thinking of this first position right here. Boom, right there is first position. It's not on the visual here. I'm working on making the trombone visualizer have more detailed information, and that's coming. But here's where it'll be right there. So I'm thinking of bomb, and then bomb, bomb, bomb. So that's my shape I'm gonna work on. First, fourth, second, fourth. But we have the option of using C in sixth position, so let's try that too. Oops, don't push the valve. Now I'm getting more familiar with where everything is. I can move a little bit quicker between those notes. And now let's add a couple other notes to that. Down lower where the low G is, and a little higher where the high E is. So. And if I had a slightly nicer bass trombone, that low C would come out popping. But it takes a little bit of time to work your chops up to that level. So it just takes time. Be patient and get really, really comfortable with moving between those notes. And I'm not a bass trombone player by any means. I'm just a doubler, so don't judge. All right. Something that's really important is to make sure that you're hearing the note that you're going to play next before you play it. When you start getting so comfortable that you're getting bored, get more creative with it, like adding some style, some articulation, and some, I don't know, scoops, I don't know, whatever you feel like. But the idea is to be able to start like just getting really comfortable with that and making music out of it. Don't just play the notes, but let's make music out of those notes. Add some more dynamics into it, and do long short. Like really dig into those notes too. Sometimes it just won't come out. All right, that's all I have for the bass trombone for today. I'm going to go back to the tenor trombone, and we're going to set up the drum groove, and we're going to play some time exercises. All right, so let's do some simple, easy time exercises. And what we're going to do, we're just going to play starting on beat 2. And we're going to get that, and we're also going to cut off on beat 2. So we're just going to play some long tones on any note of the C major arpeggio. And I'm going to play, and then I'm going to leave space for you to play as well. And do exactly what I do. Start on beat 2 and end on beat 2. So let's a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. That's a really good exercise to just get you thinking about what beat you're on while just playing nice long tones in time. But let's go to the next level and let's start moving between notes in half notes. So let's just go back and forth between notes in half notes. All right, let's keep going, but let's do this in quarter notes. Great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the modes a little bit. Don't get freaked out. This just, we're going to play the first three notes of the scale. Now let's play the 2 3 4 2 3 2 3 4 3 2 of the scale. Do that again. So what we're doing is we're just basically playing the second mode of the C major scale, because we're starting on the second note of the C major scale. Good, now let's play the third mode. play the fourth mode. Yeah, play the fifth mode. Let's do it again. Let's play the sixth mode. 1, 2, ready. That's the seventh mode. And now let's play the first mode. We're back to the top. All right, so this gives you some ideas of how to practice in time over these chords. We're basically taking all this stuff that we've worked out on the chord, and now we're putting it into a time feel, which is building coordination between two really important jazz skills. So I hope you've learned some really good stuff about time exercises, and we're going to definitely get into a lot more details about time exercises. Oh wait, don't forget about the bass trombone. All right, let's do some time exercises on the bass trombone. Here we go. Here we go. It's a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Let's do quarter notes. Basically, there's all kinds of things that you can do with time exercises. You can invent your own exercises, and that's what I do all the time, inventing my own exercises depending on the skills that you want to develop in coordination with the time. And time is at the center of these exercises, so make sure that your real focus is in time. Don't be ahead of the beat, don't be behind the beat, be right in time. You can mess around with the placement of the time, but for now, let's really just focus on being right in time. All right? Cool. All right. In this last segment, we're just going to play a little bit of fun sound effects on the trombone. It wouldn't be a true trombone visualizer show, or trombone show at that, if I didn't play some sound effects. So I'm going to play a couple sound effects that I think I'm pretty good at. And, if you think of some other sound effects you wanted me to try, put it in the comments. But let's start with something I like to do, which is, it sounds like a ghost. That's pretty creepy, right? And of course, the airplane. You got to play the airplane. And the infamous motorcycle. People love that one. And of course, that kind of sounds similar to a sports car. So let me see if I can make the difference between a motorcycle and a sports car. I don't know. Does that sound different? That's a little different. And then, while we're on vehicles, how about a car horn? That sounds kind of like a semi-truck horn. I don't know. Cool. Well, that's it for episode 1. Thanks for watching and playing along. Next episode, we're going to go over the F major chord and scales on the trombone and bass trombone and get deeper into the details. So stay tuned. And thanks for supporting the Trombone Visualizer. When you see a map, you get a bird's eye view of the surrounding area. And if you study a map, you get really comfortable with the layout of the land. If you're one of the many trombonists out there who's wandering around aimlessly, get the Trombone Visualizer, a carefully crafted map of all the notes on the trombone so you know exactly how to get to your musical destination. Visit khicksmusic.com and choose your favorite trombone visualizer product. If you're looking to rent an instrument, there's an incredible way to rent to own some of the highest quality instruments available through rentmyinstrument.com. As many of you know, I'm a BAC endorsing artist, and I love the quality of their trombones. I play on a BAC Paseo W6 every day at Disneyland, and I love it. But BAC and Rent My Instrument offer way more than just trombones. They have a full catalog of instruments from beginner to professional level, including brass, woodwinds, and percussion. Not only that, but if you're a music educator, you can sign up for Virtual Booster Club, which allows your program to earn dollar-for-dollar credit to spend on BAC and 825 instruments, or even repairs. It's an easy way to fund your program while ensuring your students have access to high-quality instruments. Use my promo code TV to get 5% off your purchase at bacmusic.com or virtualboosterclub.com. That's promo code TV. Go check them out today and see how BAC is changing the game for musicians everywhere.
A tool that's changing the game. It's all about the math, no more guessing names. The trombone visualizer, it's clear as can be. Shows me the slide and where my notes should be. From the first position and out to 7, it guides me right through, all thanks to Kevin. With every note, it lights the way. The partials lined up shows the path to play. Trombone visualizer, let it show me the way. In perfect harmony, no matter what they say. With math as my guide, I hit every note on the slide with precision. I'm ready to go. The slide moves in rhythm like a dance in the air. No more second guessing, no more despair. With the numbers aligned and the visuals bright, I'm playing it perfect, I'm playing it right. From low to high, from soprano to bass, every position has its own special place. It's like a map, a blueprint of sound. With the trombone visualizer, I'm glory bound. Trombone visualizer, let it show me the way. In perfect harmony, no matter what they say. With math as my guide, I hit every note on the slide with precision. I'm ready to go. No more guessing where I go. Just follow the lines, it's all aglow. Each partial clear, each position true. With the trombone visualizer, I'm breaking through. Show me the way in perfect harmony, no matter what they say. With math as my guide,